My name is Tamara Castaneda. I live in Copper Canyon with my husband Caesar and our three youngest children. Megan is a junior at Marcus, Colton is a 6th grader at Downing Middle School, and Jacob is a 4th grader at Heritage Elementary. Our oldest daughter, Madison, lives in Colorado with her husband. Our oldest son, Nicholas, took his life on August 6, 2013 when he was 18 years of age. Nicholas was the epitome of the good kid. He was intelligent, he was articulate, he looked out for others, he was friendly, he had a great sense of humor. He thought he was a good dancer, but he wasn't. He loved a wide variety of music, he played piano, he became an Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts of America. He even started his own business. He was a tutor, and so he started Premium Private Tutors, and he enlisted the help of some of his classmates to tutor students in a variety of subjects. He didn't give us any worry. We didn't need to. He was his own worst critic. In Nick's eyes, anything less than perfection wasn't acceptable. He thought that if he went without sleep, if he consumed enough caffeine, if he studied incessantly, that he was guaranteed success in all of his endeavors. I remember he was in academic decathlon his senior year, and the topic that year was Russia, and he had this huge manual that he would carry around, and they studied literature, music, anything relative to Russia, and he participated on the regional level and did quite well, received several gold medals, and he was just thrilled. They moved on to state, and he didn't do as well. And I remember when he texted me and let me know that he hadn't done very well, and he said, "Don't tell me that it was all worth it. It was all a waste of time. All of the energy, all of the time that I've spent preparing for this was pointless because I didn't medal." And so my response was, "We're so proud of you. The things that you've learned have been beneficial, even if you don't see that now." But he really didn't see that. He didn't have that perception. After Nicholas passed away, we learned that he had been behaving in a way that wasn't typical for him. He had begun drinking alcohol quite excessively, to the point that his friends were concerned. The behaviors that previously had helped him to be successful became obsessive and really detrimental. He developed a relationship with a girl, and at first it was quite casual, but it became so serious that it was the only priority in his life. And the day that he took his life, they had broken up. Yes, unfortunately, our children are aware of this, whether it's something that their friends have talked about, it's something that they've seen in the media. Unfortunately, it could be something that they've considered themselves. We need to give them the tools and the ability and the resources to know how to react. My daughter actually had an experience where she had a student hand her a note indicating that this individual wanted to take his life. And her concern was, is he serious? Am I going to blow it out of proportion if I pass this on? But she knew to immediately go to her counselor. And fortunately, she had already developed a close relationship with her counselor that she felt comfortable going. And so she was able to provide this information, and so the individual was able to get the help that he needs. But so often, I think there's an us versus them mentality with our teenagers. I think they feel that they're all in this together. They kind of have to protect each other. They don't want to betray that trust, and so they're really reluctant to go to a parent or a church leader, a school counselor to seek help. And unfortunately, these kind of things are just outside of their ability to address. They shouldn't have this responsibility. And so what I think is really wonderful is that LISD is coming out with this innovative program where we can give the students the skill set and the tools so that they know what to do when somebody approaches them and says, "I'm feeling this way," if they're noticing concerning behavior. And I think the biggest thing is to develop a relationship with a trusted adult that they can go to in these situations. Ideally, it would be a parent, but very often that's not the case. So if there's a school guidance counselor or somebody that the student can go to and say, "I'm concerned about this," or "I'm feeling this. how can I address it? I think that's something that we need to work with our children in understanding and having that ability. Boy, this parenting thing, it's difficult. It's hard work. Doesn't come with a manual. We're all just learning by trial and error. And I think very often there's this perception that we are the only ones struggling, that we're the only ones that don't know the answer. And so I think we need to develop a situation where we can all be open with each other and we can be honest and say, I'm really struggling with this, and how have you ever dealt with this? Do you have any advice? How can I approach this? And I think in a situation where you become aware of concerning behavior about someone's child, you need to really try and be diplomatic, and I think you need to approach that parent and say, I care so much about your child, but it's come to my attention that they are involved in this, or they are behaving in this way. Perhaps they've indicated some suicidal behavior or tendencies, and I just want you to know because I want them to be okay. As we've looked back, we've realized that even though Nicholas seemed to have checked all the boxes, he hadn't yet developed the skill set to learn how to deal with disappointment. He hadn't learned that life rarely goes according to plan, that you have to adapt, you have to learn how to work around if you don't always accomplish what you set out to do. I think how you approach these failures and disappointments develops your character. It helps you become more empathetic. You develop humility. You learn to be a hard worker, and that was something he hadn't yet learned. With all of the good qualities that Nicholas had, he hadn't learned how to be human. He hadn't learned how to make a mistake and how to deal with that. And I think that's something that would have come with time. I think that's our responsibility as parents, is to help our children learn how to deal with those disappointments that will invariably come in life. One thing that has helped me is to be able to talk about Nicholas, to share some of our experiences. Though our child chose to take his life, it certainly doesn't make me an expert on suicide. But there are often commonalities. There are certain patterns of behavior that a parent can look for, and I'm hopeful that as I share our experiences, that it will provide some insight for other parents so that they can avoid such a tragedy taking place. I think it's timely that LISD is offering this program. I think there's a real need. I think our children are struggling, and I think this is one resource to help them. Nicholas was known for being kind and including other people, providing service to others, and so I feel like he's still able to do so as we share his story, that others can learn and can have the opportunity to grow up to be the productive adults that he never had the opportunity to. I'm thankful for this opportunity to share his story.